What's up, all you samurai assassins out there? Phat Samurai Guy here, and welcome to another episode of The Movie Dojo, where we discuss martial arts cinema and action films. Today in the dojo, I'm going to review Kickboxer Vengeance. Now, if you are curious to see this film, this is going to be a spoiler review, so go ahead and stop the video, go see it, and come right back. Now, I'm going to give you the good, I'm going to give you the bad, I'm going to give you the badass. First up, the good. Back in 1989, my oldest sister Tracy took me to go see the original Kickboxer starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. I was just 10 years old, and it was a movie-going experience I would never forget. The movie had an awesome, badass villain. It had some funny moments in it. And it was exciting. Now, watching the film now, in my opinion, it still holds up today. I mean, the fight choreography was simple, but yet effective. And oh yes, there are tons of cheesy moments in this movie, but this is definitely one of those films where the cheese is the charm. I mean, this film is not Academy Award worthy, okay? But it has just enough of all of the right elements to make it work. And that's why it's still considered a cult classic. Now, 28 years later, yeah, I'm old, we are given the reboot of the original Kickboxer called Kickboxer Vengeance. Martial artist and stuntman Alain Moussi is given his first starring role playing the character of Kurt Sloan this time around. Late great Darren Shalavi is perfectly casted as the brother, Eric Sloan, as the cocky kickboxing champion who thinks he's invincible. The character of Eric Sloan is approached by a corrupt fight promoter played by Gina Carano to go to Thailand to face their undefeated champion, Tong Po. Eric agrees to this, fights Tong Po in Thailand, loses and gets killed. Now his brother Kurt, wanting revenge, trains under Master Durand, who was originally supposed to be played by Tony Jaa, but that didn't work out, so they got Jean-Claude Van Damme as a fun little wink to the audience for fans of the original to come in and play Master Durand. And he pretty much takes Kurt underneath his wing and trains him to face Tong Po in the ring. Definitely one of the pluses of the film is the cinematography. The movie looks really good for its low budget. Now for the bad. Now, I had really low expectations before I watched this movie, and yet I was still bored out of my fucking mind. Darren Shalavi is pretty much wasted in this movie. There was absolutely no drama or character building at all. I mean, at least in the original film. You got to spend some time with both brothers, and you got to see how much Kurt looked up to Eric as a hero, and it showed how much he loved and respected his brother. A perfect example of this is when he's getting ready to fight Tong Po and they're both in their locker rooms. Kurt goes to get Eric some ice and he's walking down the hallway. One of the best and most iconic scenes from the original movie. And he hears thump, thump, thump. He hears the sound and he's like, what the hell is that sound? And while he's walking down the hallway, the sound gets louder and he peeks into a room and you see the badass Tong Po kicking the shit out of a concrete pillar, and that's what's making the fucking sound. And right after that, Kurt was like, fuck this. You are not ready, you're not prepared for this, brother. Get your shit, we're going back home. And because Eric is a champion and he has a lot of pride and, you know, he's a cocky bastard, pretty much blows off his brother's warning. So after that, when shit finally hits the fan, and Eric gets paralyzed in the ring, it's very tragic. But in this version, Kurt pretty much disagrees with Eric going to Thailand, so Eric goes by himself. Well, Kurt feels bad for leaving his brother to go by himself, so he changes his mind and he flies to Thailand. Soon as he gets to Thailand, Eric is already getting beat up and he gets killed. Like, he shows up late to the damn fight. There was no drama. I was bored out of my fucking mind. Movie, this is the most important part of your movie, okay? If you want to draw on your audience, if you want them to give a shit. But I was completely checked out. I was like, really? Okay, he's dead now. Oh, okay. That's lazy storytelling, guys. Lazy storytelling. So now let's talk about the fight choreography in the movie. Is it more modern and a lot more fancier than the original? Yes. And does our lead actor have really good martial arts skills? Yeah, he's pretty good. But unfortunately, he has absolutely no charisma. And a lot of the fights felt really uninspired to me. For example, you have the sequence where Kurt and a female police officer, they get jumped by these thugs. And Kurt's fighting off these thugs and I'm fucking bored, man. I'm bored. And to make matters worse, they have this action sequence where he's jumping and hopping across these horribly bad CGI elephants. Really? Bad CGI elephants? Did we need this? Now, mixed martial arts fighter George St-Pierre is also in this movie, and he kind of plays a drunken boxer. He doesn't do drunken boxing, but he kind of plays that type of character in this film. Due to the film's lazy storytelling, you could have easily have swapped, Elaine Moussi as Kurt and GSP. You could have swapped actors. And GSP could have played Kurt, and it would not have mattered. You would not even have noticed. Now here's my favorite, fucking forced love interest. Kurt and the female police officer showed absolutely no attraction to each other throughout the whole movie, okay? Nothing. And then all of a sudden, during his training sequences with Van Damme, they spliced in this scene where they're already in the bedroom. And I'm like, did I miss something here? What the fuck, movie? Like, really? When did this happen? When did they get together? The movie tried to do something for the fans, but kind of failed. There was a scene where Jean-Claude Van Damme and Elaine are in prison. So they break out of prison. They run by this guy who's in the jail cell. And in the jail cell is the original actor who played the original Tong Po. And it was kind of fun seeing him there. Van Damme's like, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And he runs out and he goes, how could they forget about me? So I brought a light chuckle, but it still felt pointless. It was just kind of like, come on, man. You got the original Tong Po cameo. You guys could have did something better. Filmmakers, stop hiring Gina Carano for her acting, okay? She cannot act, okay? I am a fan, okay? I like Gina Carano. I like her, all right? She's a badass. You give her the right role, she can fuck shit up in movies, okay? She could be fun to watch. But whose idea was it to hire her just to act in this movie? She didn't even fight. She didn't even do anything. And another thing that annoyed me was the movie just kind of ended. You have JCVD playing Master Duran. He teaches Kurt to defeat Tong Po. He defeats Tong Po. And literally after that, there's no scene with them. There's no dialogue exchange. There's no, you've done well, keep up your training. There's like nothing. Like literally, he's in the boat with his fucking female police officer, forced girlfriend, love interest, okay? And they're literally just sailing off. They're just sailing off to the sunset, whatever the fuck. And Van Damme's in the back with taking his hat off, bowing, like waving. I was just like, movie, you just didn't care, did you? You really didn't care. Director, Mr. John Stockwell, the director of Dark Tide and Into the Blue. You didn't really care, did you? And now for the badass. Now there were a few things that I did like. One of them was Kurt comes to kind of test out Master Duran. And when he does this, it starts to rain. And I like the way it was filmed. And he tries to do some moves on Van Damme, and Van Damme's just not having it. And the fight choreography is, again, simple but effective, but it was enough to make that scene work. I enjoyed the bar fight sequence with MMA fighter Cain Velasquez. I enjoyed that. That was fun. But as much as I was bored and not emotionally invested at all in this movie, I have to give the film props for having a pretty decent finale throwdown between the character of Kurt and Tong Po. Definitely it was the best fight in the film. Dave Bautista did a pretty good job, and his stunt double did a good job as well. I actually enjoyed this fight better than the original films and finale fight. This one felt longer. It was a lot more lengthier, which I wasn't expecting. I was kind of expecting a quick kind of throwdown, throwaway fight, but it was actually pretty long. And I like that they at least made an effort to be a little different. And so besides our usual kickboxing match, we had a double sword throwdown weapons battle, which I appreciated. I was like, all right, we're doing something different here. I like that. So overall, I can only recommend this film if you're curious. I did enjoy Jean-Claude Van Damme in the movie. He's great. He doesn't phone in his performance. Bautista physically is very intimidating, but I felt his character was a little bit too nice. Tong Po should not be too nice. If you're going in Tong Po's house to assassinate him, he would probably kill you and eat you. And of course, MMA fans that want to see GSP, Cain Velasquez, and I believe Fabricio Verdum shows up in this film as well. You know, you might enjoy it. You might get something out of it. But to me, the film kind of felt like a really big waste of time. Now, believe it or not, I'm actually more excited for the sequel to this film called Kickboxer Retaliation, which comes out later this year. Only because now they can do their own thing. They don't have to poorly try to remake or reboot the cult classic original. Now it's their own franchise. They can do their own thing. Alain Moussi can now probably kind of find his character, what kind of character he wants to bring to this franchise, and not be so bland. You know, kind of find his character. I mean, it took a while for Scott Adkins to find his character. So from what little I've seen of Alain, he has a lot of potential. He really has a lot of potential. The guy has some skills. So I give Kickboxer Vengeance 2.7 out of 5 ninja stars. That's it for today's episode of The Movie Dojo. If you have seen Kickboxer Vengeance, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. And again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. You guys rock. Stay tuned for my next review of John Wick 2. I'll see you guys next time.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.